Hi guys, hello. Welcome back to episode 71 titled Hairy Armpits. Bit of a strange, perhaps, conversation, but for the past couple of years, I've been contemplating and reflecting upon this aspect and element that women feel they need to embark on around shaving their armpits. And I'm just so curious to kind of delve into that a little bit more around where did this behavior, this belief, this movement perhaps start? I mean, we were created with armpit hairs. So, like, if God was, no, you shouldn't have any armpit hairs, I'm sure He would have designed, or she would have designed us to have no armpit hairs. So, why is it within this human nature, and dare I say condition, that we feel this need to shave our armpits? Does it make us feel more desirable? Does it make us feel more smooth, sleek, and sexy? I don't know. But it's something that I've really been thinking about. I never thought I'd be contemplating about growing armpit hairs as I check my little wings here. But yes, these are the things that sometimes go through my mind and I sit and contemplate about. Drop it in the comments if anyone else out there has been contemplating this aspect and element of armpit hairs. I know that in some cultures, having armpit hairs is actually quite desirable. But I would say, at least within the culture that I've been surrounded by and the cultures that I've been exposed to, having no armpit hair is, I would say, by far more desirable than having armpit hairs. In fact, just think about it. If you had to be standing up in front of many people and you have to be flailing your arms and there's visible evidence of some armpit hair there, how would that make you feel? Would you be like, oh fuck, I forgot to shave my armpits? And then you're like, you're like, hi John. Patricia, great point. But you don't go further than that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm so curious, because for a really long time and in another chapter of my life, I used to be a market research and strategist. So I literally used to go and investigate and understand how we could encourage is a good word, polite word, encourage, stroke, manipulate people to purchase products through either advertising, through promises of functional benefits, emotional benefits, all that kind of stuff. Not to say that there weren't some real benefits with some of the products that I was very privileged and honored to be a part of, but many a times, let's be honest, they were just wanting to sell another product or get people to use more of their product, right? So I guess today's contemplation arose when I was standing in front of the mirror and I thought to myself, let's just maybe make today's episode about exactly this. And perhaps put a little spark in the plug and ignite a little bit of thought and questionability. So for the last couple of years, I mean, you can't really see, but I haven't been shaving my armpit hairs. So if you've watched any of my previous episodes, I make reference to the fact that I was experiencing some serious fibrosis and lumps and bumps in my breast, particularly the left one, around a year, 2 years ago, I'd say, probably more dominantly so. And it really got me curious about why that was. And instead of the fear taking over, which it can very easily do, I decided to go down some of those rabbit holes. And when I started to go down some of those rabbit holes, I started to discover a whole host of things around how the razors that we use to shave under our armpits are not the most beneficial, and how they have chemicals which enter our pores as we are shearing away the hair and opening up the pores even more, that enter our system and are quite toxic for our bodies. Along with that is using antiperspirant that lasts 48 hours. But that's a conversation for another day, all right? So maybe tomorrow I'll show up here and talk about antiperspirant. But for now, let's just keep it with armpit hairs and the shaving of it. But yeah, it really made me go down that rabbit hole. And it really got me to question, do we know this? Like, do we know this about these products that we are using on ourselves? And like, why would we want to shave our armpit hairs? Where is the narrative, or where has this psychosis literally formed within our minds around armpit hairs are a no-no? I believe that God created them for a reason. They're there to help regulate and modulate temperature and help us keep our bodies at a certain, state. And I'm sure they help with detoxification and a whole host of things. In fact, if you actually know the benefits of armpit hairs, drop it in the comments below. I personally would be very interested to know. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole per se, but intuitively, I can only imagine and believe that there are benefits, more benefits than having negatives in having armpit hairs, right? So yes, I guess I'm here today just to maybe be a custodian and to say, as I check my sound, just to make sure it's on, bring back the armpit hair. Men walk around with armpit hair and it's like it's acceptable. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, of course, like obviously men have armpit hair. I mean, like maybe they would look a bit strange if they didn't have armpit hair. And yet women who have armpit hair are like, oh, gross. Ooh, haven't shaved my pits, Like, but where does that come from? Perhaps we too would be a little bit more desirable. We too would smell and embody a natural scent, aroma, and essence if we kept our armpit hairs. So I know it's a playful little point of discussion, but when you take a moment to just contemplate and think about it, it's pretty deep, because the armpit hair is just an example. Think about all of the things you do in your life that you don't necessarily question, but you just do. When do you start to contemplate or start to challenge the behaviors that you just naturally or ritualistically embark on and engage on? Most of the time, most people don't even think about it. Here I am, 9 minutes 22 seconds into this video. And I'm really deep in some contemplative thinking around the armpit hair, And I guess this came about because of my requirement to heal myself and go down the rabbit hole around trying to figure out why I was experiencing what I was experiencing in my body. So we have a whole host of lymphatic nodes and lymphatic ducts that sit right under our armpits. And the lymphatic system, if you're not aware, but you guys are very intelligent, so I'm sure you know, but for those of you who aren't or have maybe never heard of it, the lymphatic system is one of the most important systems in the body, as are all the systems. But this particular system is responsible for helping the body stay clean. It's literally like a high pressure jet hose coming through and like pushing all of those toxic and toxins out of your system and your body. So when there's blockages or there's modifications or little detours that have been like blockaded along the system's path, you can imagine that the system starts to get built, like backed up, right? And I guess that's what I was initially intuitively feeling was happening inside my own physical vessel and my physical body. And I started to contemplate and think about, why am I shaving my armpits? And then I went to go do a little research on razors and the little strip that they place just above the razor that usually like makes it a little easier for the razor to glide. Like it makes it a little, I wouldn't say slimy, but just a little bit more fluid. Go do your research on that little strip. So not the blades itself, but just that little strip. And then you shave, your pores are exposed, and then what do most women go and do? They go and slap some antiperspirant on there, and the pores are like wide open. And if you know anything about antiperspirant, ladies or gents, wow, literally wow. And I can't comment for every single antiperspirant out there in the market, but I'm willing to put a good hefty amount of money on the fact that most of them out there are highly toxic for your system. If you can't ingest something through your mouth, don't put it on your skin, because guys, your skin is the same. Your skin has got pores, little orifices in your entire system that literally soak and suck up, and that goes into your system. So it's no different than eating it through your mouth or putting it on your skin. It's the same thing. Yeah, so just a little plug, I guess, of being mindful around what we are using and what we are actually putting and ingesting into our bodies in all forms, not only through food, but through the products we use, through the makeup and the cosmetics and the beauty care. I mean, just think about the beauty care industry. Holy moly. So yes, Magical Humans, it's almost 14 minutes into this video, and I think I've shared all I have felt called to share for the premises of today's armpit hair discussion. And I would personally just love to hear from you around what your thoughts and views and feelings and perceptions around the armpit hair is. How does it make you feel when you haven't shaved your pits? When you see another lady out there who's like laying on the beach, who's got the biggest, longest armpit hairs you've ever seen, like, do you go up to her and go, girl, you be rocking that armpit hair? Or you like turning to your husband and going like, oh my God, she hasn't shaved, John. Look at that. That's disgusting. No judgment. I'm actually just really curious. So for me, guys, I want to grow my armpit hairs. Like, I really do. It's like a schlep shaving them. Like, I don't even understand why I'm doing that. My husband does prefer a clean shaven pit. I ain't gonna lie. There was a phase in my life where I was actually going to shave my hair bald. A bit of a spiritual cleanse, so to speak. It was a really challenging and trying time in my life, and I felt I really needed to just cleanse myself of everything that I had experienced and had gone through in the last couple of years. And I was growing my armpit hairs, and he turned to me and he was like, girl, you're growing your armpit hairs, but you want to shave the head of hair on your head. And as funny as that may sound, it was a really profound statement, because it made me stop and just contemplate this desire and this need to shave all the hair off my head. It was almost like I was wanting to run away from something. I was wanting to not embrace and anchor in all of that hardship and actually alchemize it and transmute it and use it to, like, empower me and make me this better human because of it. So I'm so grateful that he did turn to me and he did say that. But now we've come to a happy compromise where I keep the hair on my head and I keep the hair on my pits. A 2-for-1 combo. So yes, you magical being. As always, continue to sow those seeds. Allow for the flow and the magic of life to find and guide you, so that you may continue to grow, illuminate, and glow. Until tomorrow's hairy episode, stay magical. Open up that heart to receive whatever magic wants to come inside, and keep shining your own unique, wondrous pop and hue of iridescent magic. Lots of magic, 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 magic. Boom, 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 boom. So yeah, 1644. Cheers.